Welcome back to another MLB divisional preview. Today I'll be looking at the NL East, and I previewed every MLB division, so make sure you check out those other videos. Then I'll be making my season predictions, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that video. Starting out with the Miami Marlins. Last season they finished 62-100, and they didn't do much this offseason. They lost Tim Anderson, and they traded away Jake Burger, and they added in Matt Mervis and Cal Quantrill. And overall, they had the third worst record in the MLB last season. And they're getting their ace back this season, Sandy Alcantara, from Tommy John surgery. The last time he pitched in 2023, he started 28 games and had a 3.9 WAR, a 4.1 ERA, a 1.2 WHIP, and 151 strikeouts. And he also won NL Cy Young in 2022. And when he's healthy, he's gonna put up over 180 innings. But overall, Miami's pretty good at developing pitchers. Ryan Weathers is coming off a good season, where in 16 starts, he had a 3.6 ERA and 80 strikeouts. But they also should have Yuri Perez back this season from Tommy John surgery, so they could have a pretty good rotation. But their lineup is very bad. They have an exciting young shortstop with Xavier Edwards, and last season in 70 games, he batted .328 and had 12 doubles, 5 triples, and 31 stolen bases. So he could be a guy that bats over 300 and steals 60 bases. They also have Connor Norby, and they got him from the Orioles last season, and he's just 24, but he's struggled a lot in the MLB, and their lineup is just really bad, and most of their top prospects are still a few years away. But their number 4 prospect, Agustin Ramirez, is expected to be called up this season, and he's a power-hitting catcher slash first baseman. Overall, they're probably going to be very bad this season, and I could see them trading Sandy Alcantara at the deadline. He's still under contract until 2026, and has a 2027 club option. So pretty much 3 years of control for an elite pitcher, and I think they could get a lot for him. Their over-under this season is 63.5, and I'm taking the under. Then the Washington Nationals. Last season they were 71-91, and didn't really lose anyone this offseason, but they added in Nathaniel Lowe, Josh Bell, Paul DeJong, Ahmed Rosario, Mike Soroka, Jorge Lopez, and Lucas Sims. They brought in some good veterans to surround this very young team, and I'm really liking this roster a lot. And overall, their lineup is looking very good, with CJ Abrams, Dylan Cruz, James Wood, Nathaniel Lowe, Josh Bell, Luis Garcia Jr., Keibert Ruiz, Paul DeJong, and Jacob Young. Dylan Cruz is going to be up all season long, and James Wood is entering his second season. And I really like the addition of Nathaniel Lowe. He's a Gold Glove first baseman, and last season in 140 games, he batted .265 with a .361 on base and a .401 slugging, and had 16 doubles and 16 home runs, and drove in 69 RBIs. And he also has World Series experience because he was the starting first baseman on the Rangers in 2023. And Josh Bell was a very good pickup at DH for them. And in Washington, he's had his 2 best seasons, back in 2021 and 2022. He didn't have the home run numbers as he did in Pittsburgh, but he still put up a 3.1 WAR in 2021. And in the first half of 2022, in 103 games with Washington, he had a 3.3 WAR and hit 24 home runs each year with Washington. And they had 2 very good additions to their bullpen in Jorge Lopez and Lucas Sims, and they already have a really good closer in Kyle Finnegan, and last season he had 38 saves. So I think the Nationals are going to break out this season. Their over-under is just 72.5, and I'm taking the over. Then the New York Mets. Last season, they're 89-73, and this offseason they lost Luis Severino, Harrison Bader, Jose Quintana, JD Martinez, and Phil Maton, but they added in Juan Soto, Jose Siri, Clay Holmes, Griffin Canning, AJ Minter, and Frankie Montas. Then they also brought back Pete Alonso on a 2-year deal. And the top 5 of this lineup is looking very good, with Francisco Lindor, Juan Soto, Pete Alonso, Brandon Nimmo, and Mark Vientos. And with the addition of Jose Siri, that gives them a good power bat in the outfield, but he's not going to get that many hits. Last season, in 130 games, he batted just .187, but still hit 16 doubles and 18 home runs. And back in 2023, he had a career-high 25 home runs. Then with Clay Holmes, they're switching him to a starting pitcher this year. And so far in spring training in 4 starts, he's been incredible. He's pitched 14 innings and has a 1.29 ERA and 15 strikeouts. Then they still have Kodai Senga, and he basically missed all of last season, only pitching in 1 game. But in his rookie rookie season in 2023, he was an all-star and came in second place for Rookie of the Year and seventh place for Cy Young. In 166 innings, he had a 2.98 ERA and 202 strikeouts, and even last season in his one start, he had 9 strikeouts. Then their number 3 starter, David Peterson, is coming off a very good year, where he pitched 121 innings and had a 2.9 ERA, 101 strikeouts, and a 136 ERA+. And at the bottom of that rotation, they have Taylor McGill and Griffin Canning, and once they're off the injured list, they'll still have Sean Manaea and Frankie Montas, so they could have a very good rotation. And they still have a very good closer in Edwin Diaz. Last year was a down season. In 54 games, he had a 3.5 ERA, but still had 20 saves. But the Mets are really hoping for him to bounce back to the way he pitched in 2022, where he had 32 saves and a 1.3 ERA. But overall, the Mets have a good team, but I'm a little concerned about their bottom of their lineup. They have a very good 5 to 6 players, but the bottom of their lineup is very questionable, especially with their catcher Francisco Alvarez out for a little bit with a fractured hamate bone that required surgery. The over-under this season is 90.5, and I'm taking the under, but I still think they're going to be around an 88-win team. Then the Atlanta Braves. Last season they were 89-73, and this offseason they lost Max Fried, Travis d'Arnaud, Charlie Morton, Gio Urshela, AJ Minter, and Jorge Soler. But they added Jerickson Profar, Nick Allen, Brian De La Cruz, Hector Neris, and Buck Farmer. Then Spencer Strider's expected to miss at least the first month of the season. Within the next few weeks, he's going to start his rehab assignment, and that's going to take around 30 days. Then Ronald Acuna Jr. is going to miss around a month or two while he's still trying to come back from the ACL tear. And once he's cleared, he's going to start a 20-day rehab assignment. So by May or June, they should have both of them back. But they're also going to be missing their catcher, Sean Murphy, and he's out with a cracked rib, and he's probably going to miss around a month as well. But they still have a very good roster without them. At the top of that lineup, they have Jerickson Profar, and he's coming off a breakout season where he was a first-time All-Star and had a 3.6 WAR, and he batted .280 with a .380 on base percentage and hit 29 doubles and 24 home runs and drove in 85 RBIs. But you don't really know what you're getting out of him because he has a history of only playing good when he's on the Padres. But they also have Austin Riley, Matt Olson, Marcell Ozuna, Michael Harris, and Ozzie Albies. But their rotation kind of concerns me, at least for the first part of the season when they don't have Strider, and especially losing Max Fried. They have Chris Sale, and he's coming off his Cy Young season. And Ronaldo Lopez is coming off an incredible season, where in 25 starts, he pitched 135 innings and had a 1.99 ERA and 148 strikeouts. And he was even an All-Star and was 11th place in Cy Young. But other than those two, at least for the beginning of the season, when Strider's out, the rest of that rotation's kind of iffy, with Spencer Schwellenbach, Grant Holmes, and Ian Anderson. The over-under is set at 93.5, and I think that's just very high, and I'm taking the under. Then finally, the Philadelphia Phillies. Last season they were 95-67. This offseason they lost Jeff Hoffman, Carlos Estevez, and Austin Hayes, but they brought in Max Kepler, Jesus Luzardo, Jordan Romano, and Joe Ross. Those were two really big hits to their bullpen, with Jeff Hoffman and Carlos Estevez leaving. Last season Hoffman was an All-Star, and in 68 games out of the pen, he had a 2.1 ERA, and even had 10 saves. And with Carlos Estevez, in his 20 games with the Phillies, he had a 2.5 ERA, and a 161 ERA+. They still have one of the best rotations in the MLB, with Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, Christopher Sanchez, Ranger Suarez, and now Jesus Luzardo. And they still have Taijuan Walker, and he's projected to be their long reliever. And with Max Kepler, that's their replacement for Austin Hayes, and he's a solid outfielder. And they still have Trey Turner, Bryce Harper, Alec Boehm, Kyle Schwarber, Nick Castellanos, JT Realmuto, Brandon Marsh, and Bryson Stott. So they're still going to be very good this season. Their over-under this season is 91.5, and I'm taking the over. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe. Goodbye.